Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up one morning with a clear, divine message whispering into your heart, a message that declares, on September 15, 2025, 5 extraordinary things will unfold in your life. Today, I stand before you to share a truth that transcends time and circumstance, that God's plan for us is unfolding, even when we cannot see it clearly. Faith in divine guidance isn't just a concept, it's the very foundation upon which our lives are built. When we talk about trusting God's guidance, we're not simply referring to a passive belief that He exists, but an active, unwavering confidence that He is orchestrating every detail of our journey. It's about understanding that even when the road ahead appears uncertain, even when the path isn't clearly lit, there's a divine hand shaping the way. It's about learning to lean into that hand, to release control, and to surrender our fears and doubts to a higher purpose. Many of us carry burdens of worry because we want to see the full picture before we step forward. We want guarantees, assurances, and signs that everything will work out perfectly. But divine guidance doesn't always come with a roadmap or a step-by-step plan. Sometimes it whispers softly in our spirit, nudging us to trust, to believe, and to move even when the way isn't fully clear. Trusting in this divine guidance requires a deep rootedness in faith. Faith that the one guiding us knows the end from the beginning, and He's working everything together for our good. This kind of trust is often tested in seasons of silence or delay. We pray, we seek, we listen, but sometimes it feels like our prayers are bouncing off the ceiling. That's when trusting becomes an act of courage. It's choosing to believe that even in the silence, God is working. It's recognizing that His timing is perfect, His plans are intentional, and His guidance is unfailing. When you learn to surrender your need to control every detail and instead lean into His divine wisdom, you position yourself to receive His best. There's a profound power in acknowledging that God's guidance doesn't always come in loud, dramatic ways. Sometimes it's a still small voice whispering truth into your heart during your quiet moments. Sometimes it's a divine connection with someone who speaks words of wisdom exactly when you need them most. Other times, it's a series of open doors that lead you toward your destiny, even if the initial steps seem uncertain. Trusting divine guidance means being attentive to these subtle signs and learning to discern His voice amid the noise of the world. It's also about surrendering our need for certainty. Human nature craves certainty. We want guarantees, guarantees, guarantees. But divine guidance often asks us to walk by faith, not by sight. When we step out into the unknown, we're not blindly stumbling. We're walking with confidence because we trust the one who holds our future. Faith becomes our compass, guiding us through the fog of uncertainty. It's about trusting that even when we cannot see the full picture, the one who sees everything is leading us toward our purpose. Trusting divine guidance also involves releasing the weight of past mistakes and regrets. Sometimes we hesitate to move forward because we're afraid of making wrong decisions or repeating past errors. But divine guidance isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about understanding that every step, whether right or wrong, is part of the process of growth. When you trust that God is with you, guiding your every move, you begin to see setbacks not as failures, but as lessons designed to propel you closer to your destiny. Learning to trust divine guidance also requires humility. It's acknowledging that we don't always have all the answers and that our wisdom is limited. Humility opens our hearts to receive divine insight and direction. It's about releasing the ego that wants to control everything and instead embracing a posture of openness and receptivity. When we humble ourselves before God, we create space for His guidance to flow freely into our lives. Sometimes trusting divine guidance means making difficult decisions that go against the grain. It might mean walking away from relationships, careers, or situations that no longer serve our highest good, even if it's uncomfortable. It's trusting that God's plan is bigger than our current circumstances and that He's leading us towards something better. Trusting isn't always easy, but it's necessary if we want to walk in the fullness of His purpose for our lives. In the moments when doubt creeps in, remember that faith is a choice. It's choosing to believe that God's guidance is available to you, that His wisdom is greater than any human understanding, and that His plans for you are good. Even when the evidence isn't clear, faith allows us to step forward with confidence, knowing that the divine hand is guiding us through every twist and turn. Trusting divine guidance is an act of surrender and hope, a declaration that we believe in a God who directs our paths and orders our steps. Expectation is a powerful force. It's not merely hoping something will happen. It's believing so deeply in the possibility of what's to come that your heart and mind are aligned with that truth. Expectation is a divine seed planted within us, and when cultivated with faith, it grows into a mighty force capable of transforming our reality. Many of us have experienced moments when our expectations were low, perhaps because we've been hurt, disappointed, or disillusioned. We've learned to protect ourselves by lowering our hopes, by preparing for the worst just in case. But what if I told you that your expectations can shape your destiny? That what you believe is possible can influence what you ultimately receive. Expectation is rooted in faith. It's an active stance of believing that what God has spoken will come to pass. When we expect breakthrough, when we anticipate blessings, when we hold on to hope for divine intervention, we're positioning ourselves to receive with open hands. Expectation isn't passive. It's a declaration that we trust in a God who is able to do exceeding abundantly above all we ask or think. To truly harness the power of expectation, you must first align your mindset. You have to shift your perspective from one of doubt and skepticism to one of faith and possibility. This isn't about denying reality, but about choosing to believe that the best is yet to come, regardless of current circumstances. It's about speaking life over your situation, declaring that better days are ahead, and believing that God's promises are true. Expectation also requires patience and perseverance. Sometimes what we're believing for takes longer than we would like, but that's where the power of expectancy becomes crucial. It keeps us anchored during seasons of waiting. Expectation reminds us that God's timing is perfect, and His promises will come to pass in His divine schedule. It's about holding on to hope even when progress seems slow, trusting that the seeds of faith we plant today will bloom in due season. Expectations can be cultivated through gratitude. When we focus on what we already have and thank God for His faithfulness, we reinforce our belief that more is on the way. Gratitude shifts our mindset from scarcity to abundance, from lack to blessing. It opens our eyes to see the goodness of God in our lives and heightens our anticipation for what He's about to do. Another aspect of expectation is the responsibility we carry to prepare ourselves for what's coming. If you're expecting a blessing, you should also prepare your heart, your environment, and your mindset to receive it. Expectation is not just idle hope, it's active faith in motion. It's about aligning your actions with your beliefs, making room for the new thing God is about to do. When you expect with boldness, you radiate confidence even in the face of uncertainty. Your outlook shifts from one of despair to one of hope and anticipation. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to speak life into your circumstances, declaring that your breakthrough is on its way. Expectation fuels perseverance, because when you believe for something, you're willing to stay the course, to keep praying, and to keep believing no matter what. Expectation also invites divine favor. When you carry a genuine expectancy, you become a magnet for God's goodness. His favor begins to follow you because your faith demonstrates that you trust Him to show up in your life. Expectation is a spiritual posture that invites divine intervention, opens doors, and accelerates the fulfillment of promises. It's essential to remember that an expectation isn't about wishful thinking or mere optimism. It's rooted in the certainty of God's word, His promises, and His character. When you combine faith with expectation, you activate a divine synergy that can move mountains, open heavens, and bring your dreams to fruition. Expectation is the bridge between where you are and where God wants to take you. It's the spiritual fuel that propels you forward, even when the road is rough. In cultivating this expectation, be mindful of what you speak over your life. Words are containers of faith or fear. When you speak life, hope, and belief, you reinforce your expectation of good. When negativity and doubt creep in, they undermine your faith and weaken your resolve. Guard your words, guard your thoughts, and keep your focus on what God has spoken. Expectation is a powerful act of faith, and faith always has the power to move mountains. Both trusting divine guidance and nurturing a strong expectation are essential components of walking in the fullness of what God has prepared for us. They work hand in hand, creating a spiritual environment where miracles can thrive. Trust guides us through the unknown, while expectation keeps our hope alive, fueling our perseverance and confidence. When you learn to trust that God is leading you and expect that His promises will come to pass, you position yourself for breakthroughs that surpass your wildest dreams. It's a journey of surrender and belief, of stepping out boldly into the future with faith as your compass and hope as your anchor. When you know that certain things are destined to happen, it's more than just wishful thinking. It becomes a call to action. Preparation is the bridge between faith and manifestation. It's the tangible evidence that you believe what has been spoken and that you are ready to receive it. Many people wait for blessings to fall out of the sky expecting life to change simply because they hope it will. But real faith requires us to get ready, to position ourselves, and to live with intentionality, even before the signs of change are visible. Preparation is often misunderstood as merely waiting passively for things to happen. But in the realm of divine promise, preparation is active. It's a daily commitment to aligning your actions with your faith. It's about waking up every day with purpose, knowing that what you're doing today is laying the foundation for tomorrow's breakthroughs. It's about cultivating a mindset of abundance, gratitude, and expectancy so that when the moment arrives, you are not caught off guard, but are fully ready to walk into the next season of your life. Preparation also involves mental and emotional readiness. When you know something great is on its way, you have to guard your heart against doubt and discouragement. You have to guard your mind against negativity and fear. It's about building resilience, strengthening your faith muscle, and choosing to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. This mental discipline helps you to see setbacks not as defeats, but as opportunities to learn and grow. It's about staying anchored in hope and refusing to be swayed by temporary circumstances. Living with purpose means being intentional about every decision, every action, and every word. It's about aligning your daily habits with your long-term vision. When you understand that certain events are destined to occur, your daily routines become sacred because they are the steps that lead you toward those divine moments. It involves a shift from living reactively to living proactively. Instead of waiting for life to happen to you, you start to shape your life through deliberate choices rooted in faith and purpose. This level of intentionality requires clarity about your goals, your values, and your divine assignments. When you know what God has spoken over your life, you begin to live in a way that honors those words. You eliminate distractions that don't align with your purpose and focus your energy on what truly matters. Every action becomes an act of faith, every decision a step closer to what God has planned. Preparation also means cultivating patience. It's understanding that divine timing is often different from human timing. When God promises us something, He doesn't always deliver it immediately. Instead, He often takes us through seasons of waiting, refining, and growth. During these times, it's essential to stay committed to the process, to keep your heart open, and to continue preparing even when there's no visible evidence of change. Patience is an act of faith, a declaration that you trust God's perfect timing and that you are willing to wait for the fullness of His promise. In this season of preparation, it's important to guard your environment and your relationships. Surround yourself with people who encourage your faith and support your divine assignment. Remove voices of doubt and negativity that seek to diminish your hope. Create a space, physically, emotionally, spiritually, that is conducive to growth and receptivity. This is where intentionality becomes a lifestyle. It's about making choices that align with your divine purpose, choices that prepare you for the blessings coming your way. Living purposefully also involves being open to divine correction. Sometimes God will redirect us, shift our focus, or refine our character before He releases the fullness of His promise. Instead of resisting these adjustments, embrace them as part of your preparation. Every detour, every delay, and every challenge has a divine purpose. They are the refining fires that strengthen your faith, deepen your character, and prepare you spiritually for the weight of what is about to come. Preparation is not just for the big moments. It's in the small, daily acts of faith. It's about showing up with integrity, acting with kindness, and stewarding your time wisely. It's about cultivating gratitude for what you have now, knowing that abundance is on its way. When you prepare your heart and your life, you send a powerful message to the universe and to heaven that you are ready for what's next. You're not just hoping, you're actively creating the space for divine intervention. This mindset shifts your perspective from waiting to working. It turns passive hope into active faith. It reminds you that the blessings you're believing for are already on their way, and your role is to get ready to receive them. When you prepare, you're not just passively hoping for change. You're positioning yourself for it. You're aligning your actions, your thoughts, and your spirit with divine timing, knowing that preparation is a prophetic act that attracts God's favor. It's about being diligent in the small things because they set the stage for the big things that are coming. When you understand that preparation is an act of faith, it transforms your approach to life. You no longer see waiting as a sign of weakness, but as an active process of becoming ready. You recognize that every day is an opportunity to get closer to what God has spoken, to deepen your faith, and to build resilience. When you prepare yourself spiritually, emotionally, and practically, You're declaring to the universe and to heaven that you believe in the power of divine timing and that you are ready to walk into the fullness of your destiny. Living on purpose also means being intentional about your mindset. Your thoughts shape your reality. When you focus on what could go wrong, you invite fear and doubt. But when you focus on divine possibilities, you activate your faith and set your mind on abundance. It's about choosing to believe that the best is yet to come and that God is preparing you for it even now. Your thoughts become your blueprint, shaping the future you're stepping into. Every positive affirmation, every declaration of faith is a brick in the foundation of your future. Preparation involves more than just mental and emotional work. It's about physical readiness too. Clearing your space, organizing your goals, and making practical adjustments are all part of the process. When you're preparing for something divine, you want to create an environment that reflects your faith. It's saying to the universe, I am ready for what's coming. I've cleared the way, and I've prepared my heart and my life to receive it. It's about aligning your physical space with your spiritual vision. The truth is, when you live intentionally and prepare diligently, you're cultivating a spirit of expectancy. You're reminding yourself that you're not waiting in vain. You're actively working and aligning yourself with divine purpose. You're building a foundation that can withstand the weight of blessings that are about to be poured out. And as you do this daily, you're creating a momentum, an unstoppable force that propels you toward the fulfillment of every promise. It's easy to get discouraged when progress seems slow or when obstacles appear, but preparation is about perseverance. It's about showing up even when you don't see immediate results, knowing that your consistent faith-filled actions are planting seeds for your future harvest. It's about trusting that every small step, every act of obedience, and every act of faith is contributing to the big picture. When you keep preparing, you keep positioning yourself for divine breakthroughs that can't be rushed or forced, but will arrive precisely when the divine timing is right. In this season, remember that God is a God of order and process. There's a divine rhythm to everything He does. When you align your life with that rhythm through preparation, you position yourself for acceleration. You create a divine environment where miracles can manifest naturally because you've done the necessary work to make space for them. You become a magnet for divine favor because you're demonstrating that you're serious about your faith, serious about your purpose, and serious about receiving everything God has promised. And when the moment comes, you'll be ready to step into it fully prepared, confident, and expectant that God's best is not only coming, but already on its way. Both of these keys, preparing for what's to come and living with purpose, are intertwined. They are the practical expressions of active faith. When you understand that divine promises require your participation through preparation, you move from a place of hope to a place of power. When you live intentionally, you're not just passively waiting, you're actively shaping your future with every decision, every thought, and every action. It's a journey of trust, patience, discipline, and relentless hope, knowing that what's ahead is worth every ounce of effort you put into becoming ready. Your future isn't just something you hope for. It's something you prepare for, something you live for, and something you are actively creating through faith and purpose. There's a profound power in knowing that your past does not define your future. When you understand that your history, your mistakes, your setbacks, and your disappointments are merely chapters in your story, not the whole narrative, you begin to walk with a renewed sense of hope and purpose. It's easy to get trapped in the weight of regret, to dwell on what went wrong or what could have been. But true freedom comes when you realize that your past is just that past. It's a foundation for learning, a stepping stone for growth. It's not a ceiling that limits what's possible. When you carry the weight of regret or shame, it's like trying to move forward while holding on to unnecessary baggage. It slows you down, drains your energy, and clouds your vision. But when you choose to forgive yourself and see your past through the lens of grace, you unlock a new level of freedom. You begin to see your mistakes not as failures, but as lessons that have prepared you for what's ahead. Every stumble, every fall, every moment of weakness has a purpose: to teach you resilience, to deepen your compassion, and to strengthen your faith. It's about shifting your mindset from one of condemnation to one of redemption. Instead of beating yourself up over what you did wrong, you celebrate what you've learned and how you've grown. Forgiveness becomes a gift you give yourself. It's a declaration that you are no longer living in the shadow of your past, but walking confidently into your future. When you embrace grace, You realize that the mistakes you've made are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a new chapter full of hope, healing, and divine purpose. Living free from past mistakes requires intentionality. You have to actively choose to let go of what's behind and focus on what's ahead. That means refusing to dwell on regrets or replay painful memories. Instead, you replace those thoughts with affirmations of faith and hope. Speak over your life that you are a new creation, that old things have passed away, and behold, all things are becoming new. When you do this, you rewire your mind to see possibilities rather than limitations. You begin to believe that your best days are not behind you but ahead of you, waiting to be claimed. This process of release and renewal is not always easy. It requires courage to confront the pain, to face the wounds, and to choose healing over bitterness and shame. But it's in those moments of vulnerability that real transformation happens. When you're willing to be honest about your past, you open the door for divine healing to take place. You allow grace to do its work, and you begin to see yourself through heaven's eyes, loved, redeemed, and purposed for greatness. Living free from your past also involves forgiving others. Sometimes, the baggage we carry is not just about our own mistakes, but about wounds inflicted by others. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself as much as it is a gift to those who hurt you. It's not about condoning bad behavior, but about releasing the power that pain holds over your life. Forgiveness frees you from the prison of bitterness and resentment. It's a conscious decision to let go of the heaviness and to walk in the freedom of divine grace. When you forgive, you're not just releasing others. You're releasing yourself to live fully, love deeply, and move forward boldly. Understanding that your past does not disqualify you from future blessings is crucial. Sometimes we allow our previous failures or mistakes to make us feel unworthy of the next level. But divine purpose isn't reserved for perfect people. It's for those who are willing to rise above their mistakes, to learn from them, and to keep moving forward with hope. Your past does not have the final say. Your faith and your willingness to grow do. When you recognize your worth despite your flaws, you position yourself to receive everything God has in store. You begin to see yourself as a vessel of divine potential, capable of extraordinary things regardless of what's behind you. Living in this freedom also means embracing your story with authenticity. You don't have to pretend to be perfect or hide your struggles. Vulnerability is a powerful tool for healing and growth. When you share your journey honestly, you open the door for others to find hope in their own stories. Your transparency becomes a testimony of grace, reminding others that no matter how dark their past, there's always light on the horizon. Authenticity attracts divine favor because it's an act of faith, trusting that God can use every part of your story for His glory. Let go of the shame that tries to tell you you're unworthy or that you're too broken to be used. Instead, choose to see yourself through the eyes of divine love. Remember that grace covers a multitude of mistakes and that God's mercy is new every morning. When you live with this awareness, you walk with confidence, knowing that your history is not your destiny. Your past is simply the backdrop against which your future is being written, a story of redemption, hope, and divine purpose. This mindset shift is necessary because it impacts how you live daily. When you truly believe your past does not define you, you're empowered to pursue your dreams without fear of failure or judgment. You're willing to step out of your comfort zone, to take risks, and to embrace the unknown because you know that God's grace is sufficient for you. You no longer carry the heavy burden of shame, but instead walk in the freedom of knowing that you are loved, redeemed, and called for more. Living free from past mistakes also involves celebrating your progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory worth acknowledging. Sometimes we are so focused on the destination that we forget to celebrate the journey. But each day that you choose hope over despair, faith over doubt, forgiveness over resentment, is a testament to your resilience and divine strength. Celebrate your growth, honor your process, and keep your eyes fixed on the promise of what's to come. When you embrace the truth that your past doesn't define you, you're opening the door for divine restoration and new beginnings. It's about choosing hope, embracing grace, and walking boldly into the future with confidence. Your story is still being written, and every chapter is an opportunity for renewal. You're not a victim of your past, but a victor in your story of faith. Your mistakes may have shaped parts of your journey, but they do not determine your destiny. Your divine purpose is greater than any failure. And with this understanding, you can live free, live fully, and live with the unwavering hope that the best is yet to come. Now, shifting into the sixth key, the importance of community and connection. Recognizing that we are not meant to walk this journey alone is essential. Our greatest strength often comes from those who surround us and believe in us when we struggle to believe in ourselves. Community is not just about having people around. It's about being in the right environment with the right people who uplift and inspire you to become who you were created to be. It's about understanding that our collective faith can carry us through seasons of doubt and difficulty. When you're connected to a community rooted in love, encouragement, and divine purpose, you find strength in shared experiences. You're reminded that you're not alone in your struggles, that others have faced similar battles and have overcome. This shared resilience fuels your own determination to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep pushing forward. In times of challenge, community becomes a safety net, catching you when you fall and encouraging you to get back up. Building authentic relationships requires vulnerability. It's about opening your heart and trusting others enough to share your real self, the good, the bad, and the messy. Vulnerability is often seen as a sign of weakness. But in truth, it's a sign of strength. It's a declaration that you're willing to be transparent and authentic, trusting that in your weakness, divine strength can be revealed. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you create space for genuine connection, for support, and for divine intervention through others. Community also plays a vital role in accountability. When you're surrounded by people who speak life into your dreams and hold you accountable to your purpose, you're more likely to stay on track. Accountability partners help you stay focused, resist temptation, and persevere through difficult seasons. They remind you of your worth, your potential, and your divine calling when you're tempted to give up or settle for less. Living in community keeps your spirit aligned with divine truth and helps you to stay rooted in faith. It's important to choose your community wisely. Not every relationship will uplift your purpose or encourage your growth. Surround yourself with those who inspire you to be better, who challenge you to step into your divine potential, and who celebrate your victories. Your environment should be a reflection of your faith and your future. When you're intentional about the people you allow into your life, you create a space where divine purpose flourishes. Community also involves giving back and lifting others as you climb. True connection is reciprocal. It's about pouring into others what has been poured into you and encouraging those who are still on their journey. When you share your story, your gifts, and your resources, you participate in the divine act of building up the body of Christ. Your influence has the power to change lives, inspire hope, and ignite dreams in others. When we walk together, we rise together, and our collective faith becomes a powerful force that accelerates divine purpose. Living in community demands intentionality. It requires effort, patience, and a willingness to show up even when it's inconvenient. But the rewards far outweigh the effort. When you're connected to a community that believes in you, prays for you, and walks with you, you become unstoppable. You're reminded that your journey is sacred, that your purpose is divine, and that together, with faith and love, nothing is impossible. In this space, hope is cultivated, dreams are nurtured, and divine destiny is realized through shared faith and collective strength. The most powerful thing you can do is to realize that you're part of something bigger than yourself, that your life, your purpose, and your struggles are connected to a divine narrative that includes others. When you embrace community and connection, you're aligning yourself with divine purpose. You're creating a legacy of faith, hope, and love that can impact generations. Your story is intertwined with others, and together, you form a tapestry of divine grace that can transform lives and change the world. Never underestimate the power of community, because in unity there is strength, and in connection there is divine purpose waiting to be fulfilled.